Let me first introduce you guys. I'm so excited to have Melissa Drake here. She is a collaborator and speaker and founder of Collaborative AF. She helps like-minded businesses and individuals find solutions and go further than they thought possible. And if you haven't listened to her TED Talk, I'm going to post the link below. It's all about how instead of being in competition with each other, you can go into collaboration and really dance through life. And I'm just so excited for you to be here. Thank you so much for joining us. I always like to get right into the juiciness of our talks. And I want to ask, what inspired you to want to do a TED Talk, right? So what were the outcomes you were looking for after you're done speaking? Whether that be physical, mental, emotional, what really drove you and said, I'm going to be on the next level once I complete this goal?
So that question has like three parts for me, and I'm going to do it one at a time.
Perfect.
The first one is when I do something, I often go straight to the top. If I'm going to do something, I go big and go home is kind
Wonderful.
of my motto. So I had done a lot of speaking in the corporate world. I was a trainer. I did lots of course development and speaking. But I hadn't really done a lot as an entrepreneur. So if you're going to go, go all the way to TEDx.
Yes.
And that was honestly the first time that I had spoken as an entrepreneur. So
wow.
Yeah. So that
what
was
an
exciting.
Accomplishment. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
huge.
You. Yeah. And honestly,
huge.
it comes from the belief in knowing that you can do it. Right?
Yes.
I knew that I was capable, that I could do it, that it would be fantastic, and I went about doing it. Like, I always knew that I was going to do a talk, and then I had a situation with an employer that left me with a really yucky, contrasting feeling. And it wasn't an employer, it was actually a client. And I left. And when I left, I wrote a manifesto that I knew at the time was the basis for my TED Talk. This was in December of 2017. So with Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction, we talk a lot about contrast and how it helps us find what we're meant to do. That contrasting situation led me to write this manifesto that ultimately became Collaborative AF. And I knew at the time I was writing it that it would be my TED Talk, but I had nothing on the horizon in terms of lining up to do that talk. I just did it with the faith that it would happen. And so I wrote it in December of 2017. In November of 2018, I went to a PR conference in Austin, Texas, and there I met a man, Ryan Matthews, who lives in the OC, which isn't far from where I live, who was doing a TEDx talk. And he's like, you should apply for this. So I did, and the rest is kind of history. In terms of what I want to do from here is more of that. So my original talk was about the dance of collaboration, which is essentially collaborative abundant futures for all, and how we can collaborate instead of compete, knowing that there's an abundant future for everyone. There's more than enough for everyone. We don't have to settle in a scarcity or lack mentality. And since then, I've written another talk about competitive collaboration or collaborative competition, because that's the number one question I've gotten for people is, there's so much competition out there, and how can I
stand
how
out?
can I make that happen? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, how can I stand out?
That's my next series. I am speaking at a retreat in September that I'm really excited about, and just looking to do more of that.
That's so exciting. Congratulations. Now, when lining up, when lining up to do a TEDx talk, how is the application process? So someone that might be interested in doing it, maybe they applied and was rejected a few times. Should they keep applying? Should they, what specific unique abilities really point out to the speakers, right, to the TEDx audience?
So the TEDx stage is for an idea worth spreading. So that's the most
Yes.
important thing. What is your idea worth spreading, and what's unique about it? How can you present it in a way that's unique and different? Sometimes people will nominate other people. I applied.
Mm,
So I happened to know there was a TEDx in the area. I filled out the application. I had to do a video, just a very short video talking about my topic, my idea worth
okay.
sharing. And then I had a very extensive interview process with the curator of the TEDx event.
Okay.
So that's how it happened for me. And I wrote an article about that on my website that details all of that, and gave an
Mm,
example of what my video was. Again, very short, very
wonderful.
impromptu. You don't have to have professional video. I recorded it on my iPhone. Um,
Wonderful.
so, but then from there, we actually met every single Saturday for about 10 hours a day for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
January,
Who
February,
did you
March.
meet with? Exactly. The curators of TED.
The curator and the other TEDx speakers. There were 8 or 9 of us. And
Wow.
so what we would do then is deliver our speech in the presence of the other speakers, and then provide one another with commentary and suggestions for improvement. And that's really where it
Wow.
gets magical and beautiful, is the collaboration among the teams. And I'm an intuitive editor, so I'm all about making things bigger and better and getting the
Yes.
feedback from the other people. You have to be in a place where you're not defensive, you're not attached. The actual final talk that I delivered is very different from the one that I wrote in 2017. And that's part of
Interesting.
the way my life changed, but more importantly, the feedback that I got from the other team members, and how it just became a really collaborative effort and became so much more than it originally started as.
Wow. So when you wrote the speech, you thought it might be finalized, or I feel like a lot of people think, oh, they write the speech and then they just present it. And that's not how it works out. You're with a team and you're discussing it. So you have to kind of surrender any egoic thoughts or egoic
Huge.
emotions and really
Yep.
stand up and say, I take your advice, I take your criticism, or maybe that's not working out, but I know I can tweak it in this way. And you really help me see that. That is
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah. Now,
That
I'm
is
not
so
sure that
beautiful.
every TEDx does it the same way, because they're all
Okay.
independently organized. This is just
Yes.
how ours worked. But that process was honestly the most valuable piece of it. No, I take that back. The most valuable piece for me was having my 23-year-old son in the audience and watching him just literally beam. I mean,
Oh.
that was, I know, that's exactly how it felt. That's exactly how it felt. Like, I'm
That
looking out
is
in the
so
audience, and
sweet.
he was just, like, there's a picture of him on my website, and he's just like, ugh, it's beautiful. Thank you
Oh.
to the photographer who caught that, because that's my heart. That was the
And
best experience
as a
ever.
mother, you really seeing that and seeing your own accomplishments and knowing that you're not being selfish, grabbing the stage and pursuing your dreams. You're actually showing him the example of who he has the potential to be in his life. And
Yeah.
that's so beautiful. That's so
Yeah, and he
awesome.
actually said almost those exact same words to me. So thank you for
Really?
picking up. Yeah, he really, like, he's really in tune. He said almost those exact same words to me. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
It was really
amazing.
spectacular. Thank you.
So, going on to the logic of creating a TED Talk, and I know we kind of talked about that, how it was kind of uh, reorganized. But when you're,
Mm-hmm.
I think for my clients, it's so hard to organize content and then
Oh, it
speak
is.
from that content because they don't really know the flow of how things should be. Sometimes in our head or what we're writing down is going to be different than what we're going to be speaking.
Right.
So how did you organize your content? Because it was such as, you got people involved, people were dancing, people were cheering you on. I mean, it was an amazing speech. And
Thank you.
again, for anyone watching this right now, I'm going to post the link below so you can see it. And you can really see how the audience really reciprocated with the feelings that you had, right? And it wasn't you speaking on stage, but it was both audience and speaker working together in such a unique form.
I was honestly, I don't want to say surprised, but I was delighted with how much audience participation there was, and there were places where the audience reacted in ways that I didn't expect. You know, because I've been with this group for 3 months, and they have their certain expectations at funny points in my speech, but there were parts where the audience on stage like brought me to a place that I wasn't ready for, like where they responded in a way that I wasn't expecting, and that was powerful. That was really, really cool.
Wow. What moment was that?
There were a couple. One, when I was talking about change makers use collaboration for the greater good, and talked about Kaepernick, and they really got on board with
Yes.
that. There were a couple places where I got very emotional, and they were right there with me. The the surprise at the end, they were there. There were several places that
That's wonderful.
kind of surprised me. But back to your question, in terms of content, it's really a matter, again, it comes back to collaboration. If I had taken my original draft from 2017, it was good. And there are parts of it that some of the most poignant phrases from that original talk ended up in my final talk. But it wasn't collaborative. It was my view. This is what I want to present. And it didn't have there was no feedback from other people. And so as an editor, like, I know the value of feedback. And some
Yeah.
people are so like, okay, this is mine and this is the way it's going to go. Okay, that's great. You can do that. But if you consider this, you can do this that's bigger, that's more exciting, that's going to draw more people in. So there really has to be an openness to try something different, to try something new, to consider something more than yourself. And we're often taught,
Yeah.
you know, I'm looking out for me and that's it. And you really want to, and that's kind of the basis of collaborative AF as a whole, is how can you go bigger and further than you intended? And that all begins with collaboration. It begins with editing. It begins with trying something out. I mean, everybody that's in business has failed. They try something and then it doesn't work and they
Yes.
try something else. And before they try
Yes.
something else, it's helpful to get feedback and say, why didn't this work and what could have worked better? I have a background in
Yes.
marketing research, so I'm very familiar with, what is it that people want and how do we make it fit? So it's all
Interesting.
about that collaborative process. If you're writing a script for anything, I strongly encourage you to have an editor look at it, at least a friend, a partner, a peer, to give you feedback. And as
Yeah.
a person giving feedback, a lot of times we think that people are giving us stuff to review because they just want validation. They just want us to say, Danielle, that's fantastic. You did a really good job. So
Yes.
my feeling on that is, I'm not going to give you something to review unless I already know it's fantastic. I don't want you to tell me it's fantastic. I want you to tell me how I can take it to the next level.
That is
So,
beautiful.
yeah. So
Can
being
you
open
say
to that.
that? Can you say that again? Because it's so
Yes.
powerful, but in another
Yes.
way, just because I want the audience to actually savor that last sentence. It was so good.
Yes, thank you. I love that you love words because I do too. So I don't want you to tell me it's fantastic. I already know that. I wouldn't have put it out there if it wasn't fantastic. What I want to
Yes.
know is how we can take it to the next level, how we can make it
Yeah.
greater, not for you, not for me, but for the collective. It's bigger than us.
Yeah.
And I think we get stuck in us, what our needs are and what we want to do, instead of how can we go beyond this immediate need that I have, and really bring in more people, more resources, help more people, and just make it bigger.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And it seems like with those groups that they had you come together every Saturday, it wasn't just an openness, but it was actually like a trust. You had to have a
Oh,
certain
huge.
level of trust in order to really take yourself off the line and go, this is what I have. Like, what are your thoughts? what,
Yes.
what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and not being defensive. And there were some points, particularly toward the end, where there were some people that didn't like that I swore in the end, and I was like,
Mm.
well, that's too bad. There were some points where you just have to
Yeah.
like, this is the way it is, and I'm standing firm. But
Yeah.
I would say 95% of the time everything was open to interpretation and open to
Uh,
change, because it wasn't about me, it's about the message, it's about the idea worth spreading. An idea is not worthwhile if it doesn't spread.
mm,
So how
true.
do you get people on board to spread that? And that was through the process of editing and collaboration, and really making it better, making it something that people would buy into, that people would want to share.
That's wonderful. Now, how did you mentally and emotionally prepare to stand on a stage so large as a TEDx?
So the stage itself wasn't all that large, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It was at
Okay.
it like the platform of TEDx is very large. The stage was at a college, and there were maybe 100 people in the audience, so it wasn't very large. Um, and honestly, I didn't have the least bit of fear about that.
Wonderful.
The only thing that was going on is I was supposed to present after lunch, and everything went so quickly. I ended up going on like 2 hours sooner than I thought.
Okay.
So I wasn't able to put lipstick on, and I had to go up 2 hours early. That's the only bit of, and I don't even want to call it apprehension. That's the only bit of hiccup there was. Getting on the stage was easy peasy. I knew that I was born to do that talk.
Mm,
So it was really just a groundedness in me, and a groundedness in my message. And again, having my son beaming in the audience didn't hurt one bit.
yeah. Yeah. That's amazing.
When
That's
I was
amazing.
19 years old, I did a fashion show for 500 people on a
Oh, wow.
budget of $10. So,
Wow.
like, so speaking is not, it's not a big deal for me. A lot of people it is, and most people will have done more speaking before they get on a stage like TEDx. And
Yes.
I just hadn't done it as an entrepreneur. But really, it's just groundedness in yourself and your message, and then feeding off the energy that the
Mm,
audience gave off. I mean, you just kind of get in a zone, and like, you just go with it.
wow. And being
Yeah.
flexible too at the same time. Really
Oh, no
knowing,
question. Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's the
No
hardest
question.
for people to do because they have these expectations and they want to put a control over it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And letting go of that control is sometimes the hardest part.
Yes. I'm only laughing because that's something, a theme that's
It's,
coming up in my life right now.
oh, same
Um,
here. Same here. That's why I'm
mm-hmm.
talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So,
Mm-hmm.
how are you able to be more flexible and let go of that control for speaking or just within entrepreneurship?
Well, I'm not there yet. First of all, I still like control, um, and I would say that it's, but first of all, by being surrounded with people you trust.
Mm,
So it's a lot easier to give up control when you have a team of people supporting you. The people that I worked with TEDx were among the most brilliant people I've ever been associated with. And to be honest, I've been grieving not having that interaction on a weekly basis. It was, you kind
wow.
of become family with these people, and then afterwards everybody went back to their own little lives, and it's kind of like, oh, I don't have that connection and that sense of purpose with that group anymore. So
Interesting.
that was another real thing that I wasn't prepared for, that impacted me pretty hard after the talk was. And the other thing is, you do something big and major like a
Yeah.
TEDx, and you think your life's going to be hugely different.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
yet. It will be, but it's not yet. So those were a couple expectations that I wasn't prepared for, that I'm kind of dealing with on the back end now, is the loss of that network that I had. And granted, they're still there, just not in the same capacity they were before. And then the fact that even though I did what to me was this earth-shattering thing,
Yeah.
wasn't really earth-shattering for the rest of the world yet. I think that it will be at some point,
Yeah.
but not yet. And so dealing with that anticipation and again surrender, there are some things I can do to control the way things move after that, but there are a lot of things I can't. So
Yeah.
just being open to what presents, and
Yeah.
that's a challenge. Like, I'm not great at that yet.
No, but you're working towards it, which we all
Yeah,
are. We all are. I'm in
exactly.
practice of that every day. And that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest things that personally as an entrepreneur, I fail at every day because you want to have control of the outcome. And
Yep.
most people think that aren't in entrepreneurship go, oh, you do have that control. You just, wake up, you know what you're going to do, this, and this, but it sometimes just doesn't happen, right? And you
Right.
feel that rock bottom of it not happening. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the practice of going, I don't have control of anything, um, I
And
think
that's
is
actually
brilliant.
freeing in some
Yeah,
ways,
yeah,
but when you're so used to controlling things and then going the opposite direction is
yeah,
not easy. Not easy.
yeah. So, what have you gained and what have you overcame and now have moved forward with after doing a TEDx? Like,
So
what's everything you've gained? Yeah.
the most important thing that I gained was, I want to say, a healing of a relationship with my son. And I have an amazing relationship with him. So it's not like it was really bad and then it got good. But I
Yeah.
mean, when you're depressed for decades and you spend 7 years in
Yeah.
bed, there are a lot
Yeah.
of things that fall by the wayside. And I don't know if you know this or not, and I didn't talk about it in my
Yeah.
talk, but I used to live in Des Moines, Iowa, and I moved from Des Moines, Iowa to the Los Angeles area. And about a year after that, my son moved. And he has told me, you doing that showed me what's available for me. And seeing you on that stage doing what you were born to do was the most powerful thing I could have seen. So, like, you showed me the possibility, and he is doing fantastic, absolutely fantastic since he moved. He's made more money in the last year than I made 20 years in corporate. Like, he
Wow.
just, and not that it's about money, because it's not. It's
Yeah.
about the satisfaction that he has in doing that. So watching him succeed is amazing. The people that I met, amazing. The high quality video production I have that shows off the talk. I anticipate that will open doors for me to do other talks. Like I said, I'm speaking at a retreat in September. I'm super
Yes.
excited about that. I did another event for Toastmasters and talked to
No,
them
wonderful.
about the magic of collaboration. So it's kind of opening up doors in that way. I really want to do more corporate training events. I have some things that I'm booking related to that. But really, it was just a renewed confidence in who I am and what I was born to do. I have sisters who I haven't talked to in a while, which is another story, but they all saw the talk, and all of them said, this is where you're meant to be. And that was really powerful too. Just, feeling like I'm on the right track, even if the track isn't moving at the pace I want it to. So that's been another lesson for me in trusting that I'm not in charge
Yeah.
and things are going to happen in the divine timing, or they won't. And if they don't, it's because
That's
something
okay.
better is coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's lots of lessons, just huge lessons, and all very valuable and heartfelt.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so
you.
much for coming on today. Now,
Oh, thank you
what
for
what
having
do you
me.
have to offer? Anything you want to offer or pitch to my audience if they want to get to know you? She's going to be tagged to this video. This video is also going to go on YouTube for everyone else who wants to see. But Melissa, this is your chance to shine. What do you got?
Well, I wish I had a package and you could sign up immediately, but I'm not there yet. I do offer coaching, both life and business coaching, consulting. I love to edit. If you have a sales page or a book or a ebook or something like that, I'm a fantastic editor that will really help you take your content from where it is to the next level. So anything you want to level up in that
I might
aspect,
use you
that's
for that. I
yeah,
might use you
no,
for
like
that.
that is one of my best skills, and I really
That's
enjoy
awesome.
it too. So that's probably the thing that I would offer first is an ability to kind of help tune in to what your messaging is and how you can take it to the
Yeah.
next level. And also as a master collaborator, I have partners that do anything and everything you need. So if there's something you need in your
Wow.
business to help you advance, let me know and I can hook you up with whatever you need.
Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to definitely take you up on that opportunity. Thank you, Melissa, so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you and have a
Thanks.
great day. It was great being here.
Have a great day. Thank you so much, Melissa. Bye, guys.
You bet. Thanks. Bye bye.